Welcome back to the Pit Stop Ranch. Or if this is your first time joining us, thanks for coming along and clicking on the video. This video, we are at the Goodguys March 2023 show at the San Diego Fairgrounds in Del Mar, California. Up front here, we got ourselves a Pro Touring 66 Chevelle, which is really a quite spectacular example of a Chevelle. Back in early aughts, when the Pro Touring thing first was starting to get traction, I dreamt of doing this to my 68 Pontiac, amongst other things. This particular example has an LS7, supercharged, and it's a hell of a car. I can only imagine how much they have invested in it, and hopefully they actually use it. Though, to be honest with you, as beautiful as it is, it's unlikely they do. Now, this neat little pickup here, and I'm not sure what it is, honestly. I think it's a Chevy. But anyways, it's got three, looks like deuce carburetors, but that's actually fuel injection. I really dig that setup. I would like to do something like that. I spent a little bit of time filming it. I believe at the Grand National Roadster Show, I ran into the booth that had this setup available. It's not one of the big names. I have to see if I can figure out who it is and look into maybe getting an intake like that for some of my more interesting engine combinations. And, of course, an obligatory 32 Roadster, very beautifully done. Now, it has a 8BA, which is the Ford Flathead produced from 1948 to 1953. It's, I guess you could say, the last generation or the final iteration of the venerable Ford Flathead before they came out with the Y-Block. And I spent a little bit of time here busy taking it apart visually and looking it over. Now that I've played around with a bunch of these, I can really see a lot of the details in here. For example, this breather tube. We got an 8BA. This is a breather tube that comes down, comes underneath and out. What that does is it uses the draft under the car to pull fumes in the, so it's an early form of positive crankcase ventilation. So this is that tube that, like on these 8BAs, yeah, this is a breather tube, and it comes down along the side. And what that does is it's an early form of positive crankcase ventilation, because the draft coming by pulls stuff out.
This one looks like it's set up so that you could be able to put the...
it's got the crossover on it.
Yeah.
But it's not the output, it's a crossover for heating up the manifold.
External oil filter.
Yep. Which is what it's supposed to have. Now, it'd be interesting to see if this is the cartridge filter or if this is inside the spin-on.
No, it's got the spin-on inside. That's why it's got that canister. You unscrew, that's an acorn nut on top. You unscrew that, and then take the spin-on out of there.
Well, there's a couple ways of doing it. And
it could have the coffee filter inside, and that's just the injection.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. There's two ways to do it. There's the paper filter insert or the canister. And you can modify the ones with the paper insert and machine them and set them up to hide the canister, like the spin-on. this Bronco was here last year, and I think I slobbered all over it quite a bit because it still had the stock inline six instead of having it been upgraded to a V8. So our swapped out for V8. When I thought that was kind of neat, you know, kind of an original setup. Here is an extremely pretty, shiny 32 Ford 5-window coupe. Yeah, it is a LS motor. Now, one of the things that it would be interesting for you guys to do is as we go through and look at these cars, take a look at all the cars with LS swaps and see how they've hidden as an LS. If you want reliable power for a reasonable sum of money, it's really hard to beat an LS motor. But the LS motor is probably one of the ugliest motors there is, honestly. Let's be honest. It's not a pretty looking motor. It's exceptionally utilitarian design. It wasn't, you know, they got in the original factory applications, they've got all sorts of plastic to hide just how unattractive they are. They're not pretty like a flathead. This 351 powered Mustang was also at the last show we were at, Goodguys show we were at Del Mar. And that's just it. A lot of these cars are cars that we've seen before, and definitely every single one of them is worth taking a gander at and looking at again. They're all pretty and enjoyable to look at. But anyways, getting back to my LS rant. Take a moment and whenever we see an LS motor, try and figure out, see how they've hidden the coil packs, or see how they've covered up the valve covers and tried to pretend it's something it's not. Looks like it's a 351 based block because it's taller than the small block or the low deck, the 302 base. Now again, every single one of these cars is a rolling work of art that if you saw in your local grocery store, you would just stop and drool over. You get overwhelmed sometimes at these shows looking at them. Oh, another 32 Coupe, another 32 Roadster, another, Chevelle. It's something you can get a little jaded by just walking around these shows. Now, conversely, how many of these cars are ever driven to the grocery store to get groceries? Almost none of them. A little bit of a scratch or a ding in that paint job, and man, your day is ruined, your week's ruined. Hell, your next decade might be ruined. One of the reasons why we don't invest too much in a pretty paint jobs is they're expensive and easy to ruin. Now this particular one has 6 Strombergs on it, which for a small block, I think that's a pretty cool setup. It's a pretty interesting looking setup. I don't know how drivable it is, but it definitely is attractive. It's definitely cool looking. Now, this 32 Roadster has what is called a cleavor. It has Cleveland heads on a Windsor-based block. You could almost call it like a 32. Call it like a 302 Boss sort of situation. Something that's pretty cool. Kind of contemplating doing something along those lines for a land speed racing car, just because we can get the displacement and the flow with the 32. So thought that was really cool. 427, so it's the high deck 351 based block, and neat setup.
It's a 427 Eagle.
Yes.
And of course, this is arguably one of my favorite cars at the show, and I don't spend much time on it, but it is an actual Pontiac engine in a 70 or 71 Firebird with the Ram Air. And this is my favorite A body or F body. My favorite F body is the Firebird, and it's actually got a Pontiac engine in it. 455, as the sticker just said there. And if I could afford something like that, I'd be a happy camper. It's a bit outside of my price range, but maybe someday I'll drag home some rotten old husk and pretend like I can fix it. I had a nice, pleasant, long conversation with the owner of this beautiful specimen. He bought it a year ago at the last March Goodguys event, and it's actually a glass body, but they've done such a nice job painting it that it doesn't jump out to me as a glass body, and that goes to show you if you want a nice car, you don't have to go for the Henry Steel or even a Brookville body. You can save some money on the body and then go ahead and take some time and do a really nice job on the paint job, and you'll get it. Of course, I had to stop and check out this Model A with 32 grill because it has a 409 Chevy Mark I big block. Because I don't know, it's everyone puts small blocks in, everyone puts the LSs in it. I like seeing something that's a little different. It's kind of like that Cleavor we just looked at.
409, yeah, that's what I thought. It's 409. They just stamped Pontiac on it. For some reason.
Uranus Space Cadillac. Welcome your space brothers. Yes. '69 Cadillac. Such a coupe de ville. A little dinged up. Interesting. Not a problem. It's good not to take yourself too seriously. UFO. Ford. Sedan station wagon. Vintage. The ice chest in the back.
How about a triple shot? Something like that.
Window. Those are those disc brakes that designed to look like drum brakes.
Magneto, small block Chevy.
Maybe T-Vinny.
Probably.
Magneto action.
It's interesting, the firewall stepped back.
Traditional build. pinstriper. Side
So
doors.
it's 383 on the tag.
Oh,
It's
so
got
it's
the 350 automatic.
350 block with the 383.
And looking at it, this looks like gel coat right here. The rest of it's paint, but that looks like gel coat.
So they got the fiberglass firewall.
Yeah, I think it's a fiberglass car. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a glass car. One Model A,
5 windows, yeah.
5 window.
Small block Chevy.
1930. Old Bradford.
I guess it's 350, 350.
Airbags in the back. Tucked into the trunk next to the field
That's
tank.
a filter. You're right, it was 10. It's 10.
Plenty for this guy. It's up to like 1,200 pounds at that point.
Yeah.
This guy, what we got? 66, 65? 65 Mustang, I'd say.
Mustang with the 289.
It's got the 289. It's got the standard issue 289, but it's got the gold valve covers on it.
Which is, I mean, that's worth 5 horsepower right there.
Makes it look like a K code. I mean, standard maroon interior. Nice camera casing in there. That's cool.
Fun California car.
500 factory looking wheels. Let's see, Eaton power steering pump on there. No AC, but I got the Eaton power steering. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Your car?
That's my car, yes. I've had her for 45 years.
For 45, you don't look 45, come on.
I had $1, I'm telling you what. Oh, baby. Bought it for $500 back in the day. That was
So
a
you're
lot of
saving-
money.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
I was saving up my Carl's Jr.'s money, man, to get that.
I was going to say, I'm buddy of mine that dad bought
Hot kick suspension.
cherries.
Cindy loves her 69 drop top.
Yeah.
That's the 2-speed, right?
Yeah, that's very rare for the Mustang.
And especially since it's a 289 too.
So here we go. It says Arcadian Blue 289 V8 C code, but it's got the Cruise-O-Matic. Almost all of these came with a C4. You had to custom order the Cruise-O-Matic, which would make this a very, very rare vehicle.
What should we care?
Not with the Cruise-O-Matic. So it's got the pony interior, it's got the Magnum wheels. This is like a fully decked out cruiser car. With the 289 2V, that's rarer than our 67 with the 2V and the 4-speed.
Yeah.
It's got all the options. Let's see if it has the AC and the power steering with it. Okay, so we got Eaton power steering, which is the fact of no AC.
Let me see.
It's
So the nice thing is it is good.
It's a driver too. They got the brake booster. I don't know if that's an add-on. But it's got a couple add-on parts. So, and you know, I would assume this is a factory pony car. And the two things that give it away is a stainless steel trim on the door. They do that stainless steel trim on the door panel, and then they have the little kick panels, the little chrome bushings on the door handles. So if you have a standard car that's not a pony car, you can't put those chrome bushings underneath it. And that stainless steel trim on the door costs just as much as the door panel itself. So if you're not a real pony car, you're probably not going to pay that kind of money for that. What do we got here? 65. Oh, with the 260. So this is 64 and a half. The 260, they only did the 64 and a half with the 260. The 289 came out in 65. That's got the red pony interior. That's got a center console and an air conditioner. Oh boy. This was optioned out with the V8. Did not come with the 4-barrel. Only had a 2-barrel. That one's 30 G's for it for sale. It's pretty nice. Let me see. So the thing about the, so they can fit that chrome bezel in there. So if you don't have a pony door, you're not going to be able to put that on there. This guy has the interior out. He's got the window out. He's mid-construction on this guy. That's fine. Gave it a shot. Gave her a run. We'll call this a 66. He put the hard top on the convertible. No, it's not a convertible. He chopped the hard top off and he put a removable hard top. T51 Bullet. 2019. It's a little new, but they're letting all the Mustangs in. Got Shelby GT500. Supercharged. '98. This is the 5.2 liter Chevy GT. This is just a Shelby badge car. They got the roll bar in there. It's convertible. Doesn't have special engine options. Still has a Shelby name on it. Still signed by Carol Shelby. That's what you're going for. It's out of the Mystique. Numbers matching K-code. High performance 65 Mustang. So it's got the chrome trim on there. That should be gold. They would have painted it gold. Looks like he's got the tri-Y headers on it. No AC, no power steering. Vintage US mags. Those are vintage. A fold down back seat, which would be a 2+2. Doesn't say it on the side. Original instrument. Yeah.
Like the NASCAR.
So this guy is calling this GT670. This is a 66 Mustang. Let's see what we get at right here.
It's a Pro Touring setup.
Like the what?
It's a Pro Touring setup.
got our big Bayer brakes in here. Except he's got a roll cage in there, but he's only got a 3-point harness. Manual transmission, modern gauges. Bullet gas cap. It's got the vintage California plate with the dual exhaust and the rings. Here we go. Another convertible. What is this? What is this? 69. I should know just by the grill. Look at that grill. It's a 69. Got that shark mouth. Opened up. Whale shark. Okay. Got the wood interior. Wood grain interior. Another modern Mustang, Mach 1, 5-liter. 2021. It's only like a couple of years old. Transmission, 9-inch rim. Back stance. Interior. P&M automatic shifter. Another model that is going to show up racer. 2016 GT 350. Short throw shifter. 67 coupe. 289. Got that garage behind that here. Window sticker. Oh, bench seat. That's new. You don't see those in here. Mustang Bronco. Got that big old scoop on the nose. 72 Mustang. It's just like you're sitting in it. Automatic trans, center console. It's like a Super B. 383 on the Super B. There we go. '69 Dodge Super B. This guy, look how big that rocker is. Little Barracuda 66. Custom route those headers to the fender wells. There's no room in that guy. Anyway, that greenhouse, that big old piece of back glass right there, that could cost more than the whole car sometimes. Super Commando 68 Plymouth GTX. Hemi Cuda. Look at this big old valve cover. That's just insane. Got the shaker there. Another Barracuda. It's an older style. '67. Copper interior. Looks like a shade of lipstick. It's fine. Got that big fastback glass, but not the greenhouse style. The other one that we looked at. '66 Satellite. Look at this big boy. The 426 Superstar. Heavy engine.
Of course, Buick or Pontiac being one of my favorite marks. Saw this gorgeous GTO, had to check it out. Has a 502 crate big block in it, ZZ 502. Cool setup. I would have kept the Pontiac engine in it, but you know, I'm kind of, I guess I'm stupid that way. Gorgeous looking Impala with looks like another big block, 454 probably. Great setup. We'll find out here. The nice thing about these tags is they always say what they got on them if you pause it. Nice looking interior. Speaking of Pontiacs, here's another Pontiac, but one that's very different from our normal variety. And here's another example of a someone trying to hide their LS motor. I'm trying to see how they fire it because it isn't obvious, but they got the I guess the cam position sensor in the back there. But cool car. I dig it. Question mark engine. I agree. Question mark engine. Does look like it's got a port back there for. No, it's an LS motor. Obligatory Camaro with appropriate small block in it. Very sharp. Well done. 327. I think it's here on the sign. It says it's the original owner still has this car, which that is freaking neat. And gentleman there in the passenger side door, nice fellow. And now, much like the Mustangs and the other row in this building, here we have a row of Mopars. So. Some Mopar madness. I'm kind of curious what engine it has in it with the distributor in the back like that. I didn't know too many of them did that way. Was that something they did on the LA motors, or is that something? I know the RB motors got the distributor up front. For example, the big block Mopars. I do really like the way Mopars look. A lot of them. Some of them look funky. That was one thing about Chrysler was they're willing to take chances on their styling much more than the other marques, usually because they were in third place, and so they were desperate to distinguish themselves, get themselves to stand out. And when they got their styling right, man, they got their styling right. They got it gorgeous. And other times, some of the proportions were off a little bit, or the shapes were off a little bit, and you're just sort of, scratching your head, kind of trying to understand. This original, the first generation Barracuda being an example of some funny stuff going on with the styling. I think it's something you either like or you don't. And I like the fact that they're chance takers on a lot of their stuff.
When it comes to this type of stuff.
Well,
so much of it is the same thing over and over and over again.
I don't disagree with you.
You know, so it's you know,
Some Anglia.
Covering it is an important part of the whole hobby. And there's definitely some really cool stuff, like something a little different or getting inspiration by checking out what other people have done. You know?
Well, you know, I really got turned on to those wheelies after we went to that Lions Automobilia drag strip. Like before that, I just I'm like, yeah, I knew they were there, but I never really paid attention to them. But then seeing how big of a deal that they played in, you know, drag racing and hot rodding history, I just kind of underappreciated them, I guess.
Roger. Oh, hey.
Oh, he's popping the hood on. Oh, look at that.
Third gen Hemi?
Yeah,
5.7 or?
6.1.
Oh, nice. Holy crap.
Yeah, the damn alternator and all.
Oh,
So
that sucks.
we're gonna get some stuff.
Right.
One guy we're attracted.
Good luck, man. Yeah, totally.
And like I remember when they first started doing stuff like this.
Totally.
And this is a retro build now.
I was just look. There's a '98 Lincoln lowrider in there,
Oh yeah, those are hot.
and I was looking at it. I'm like, does this mean I'm old?
That's a classic car, bro.
But yeah.
The '98, the Lincoln, they had that extra little like fifth window in the back.
What makes it hot for the
Yeah.
lowrider? A beautiful mural on the hood, just very very awesome little, very awesome car. You know, Panther platform.
Yeah.
And it's like makes all the fucking sense to lowrider that.
So, and they came from the factory with airbag rear suspension, so adding like adjustable airbags is,
Pretty easy.
yeah. '98 Jeep with the 4-liter is a classic.
Yeah, no, I was looking at it like, oh, I could have brought the Rubicon. I think here it's like mid-90s, isn't it?
I have no idea. I know in up in Turlock it's 97 and earlier.
Yeah. Because then that's 25 years. What's that?
Here's a Fairlane, 57 Fairlane.
Yeah. 57? 6.
I think it's 57. Might be a 56.
Well, 56 on the license plate.
Oh, okay, then it's 56. I mean, who knows how to tell 56 from 57 Fairlane?
You got me beat.
If it was a Chevy, then everybody would know. You'd get tongue lashed if you didn't know the difference.
Are you a real car person?
I'm a car person, but sometimes I just get them confused.
I actually get the car.
Deal.
That's all it was. The hood might be still louvered. No, that's fiberglass.
That's all fiberglass. It's the fiberglass.
What you get? Shit, man.
If you How you doing today? Didn't mean to get in your way.
Oh, you're good? I'll be right back.
Got a 502 on the Chevelle. Oh, look at that interior on this bad boy.
Should be good.
Enjoy.
You have a hard time keeping the tires straight or what? That big old LS in this.
It'll get out. It'll you know, it's a posi rear end, so it'll
light
push
'em
the
up?
rear end out from under you.
How are you?
Put you back on the street.
John, I'm Ray.
Let's do Baker.
Dodge Red Ram Hemi, first generation Hemi.
Yeah, I recognize it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I like the tonneau cover.
Yeah, me too. This looks like it's getting ready to go out to the lake bed.
Porter?
Yep.
32 Plymouth.
Yeah, Plymouth. There you go.
They all have that exact same, like,
Snap-on congratulates Goodguys for being celebrated as America's favorite car show for over the past 38 years. A special shout-out to the makers and fixers of the world who know their craft and create some of the coolest projects around.
About $35,000 or even $30,000 sitting in my pocket. I'd be hard tempted to say no to this.
And share your stories at makersandfixers.com. Summit Racing Equipment, proud sponsor of the 2023 Goodguys Car Shows.
This is kind of almost exactly something I'm looking for.
Anniversary as the world's speed shop. Roseville Rod and Custom is sponsoring and selecting a winner of the Goodguys Subtle Elegance Trophy that'll be presented at Sunday's award ceremony. Now, Roseville Rod and Custom has for many years built award-winning hot rods and custom cars for owners throughout the country. And also a New York speed shop and produces GMC 6-speed equipment as well as smart plus wirebirds. Pick up prize-winning vehicles and rides can be viewed at RosevilleRodandCustom.com.
Is it open? I mean, they kept picking stuff up now. But there's some
Now, is that a 392 or is that a 354?
That is, it started out as a 331.
Oh, okay. Very cool. It's a blown Hemi. It's a blown Hemi.
Yeah, I know. That's what's like. That's a beast.
Yeah, I bet that's squirrely as hell.
Yeah.
track nose Model T. Solid front axle with the disc brakes. 350 Chevy small block. Significant chop. Incorporated turtle deck. Every year, you're not allowed to be near this place. I was a few feet. I was on the other direction. I heard the thud, and I looked over. I'm like, what's going on? I walked over with the camera. There's 11Ds for like 150, 200 feet.
Yeah.
The guy locked his tires up and he just lay right into the wall.
Yep.
And the wall itself moved into the swap meet area.
Yep.
Like the people were walking away crying because they almost got hit. I think that's going to shut it down, like, period.
Yeah, I think so
Second
too.
year in a row that happened.
Yeah.
That exact same turn.
Yeah. It might have even been the exact same guy.
I don't think, no, because this guy is the other guy was a Dodge. This was a 65 Mustang.
Yeah, I know. Well, I knew this was a 65 Mustang. Yeah, I remember last year when we walked out a year ago out there and was
We got
like,
there right after it happened. They were towing the car out.
yeah, they're towing the car off and.
Yeah, all the other drivers were over there. They're like, well, I don't think they're going to start it back up.
Maybe not
They were
today.
talking about this, so
If it happened again, they were going to cancel it, period.
it's going to cancel it.
It's all of a liability, I know that. Especially, road touring Chevy 210 wagon. That's cool.
Same platform.
Yeah, the same platform, but since they're not a Mustang, Mustang shit doesn't happen with them. Am I right?
I'm not going to argue with your logic. The math right now is adding up. You have physical evidence.
Yeah. Yeah, they might be the same platform as a Mustang, but since they're not Mustangs, Mustang shit doesn't happen with Falcons.
I think it's the weight distribution because it has more.
I think it's the expectations, the drivers. We are now at a little over an hour, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. And unfortunately, there's a whole bunch of coverage that hasn't quite made the cut. There's a whole great lowrider room with a lot of amazing lowriders, a lot of which we have already seen. A lot of them are exact models we've already seen. All definitely worth checking out. Deserving their own time. Maybe I'll do another video, but here's the autocross people going around having a hoot, going around the cones in the parking lot. Just after shooting this little clip here, my battery dies and I miss the most exciting shot of Mustang doing truly Mustang things and going into one of the barriers. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Really appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And until next time, have a great time doing Mustang things.